And believe it, football camp is just around the corner for many area high schools, but this year players could be spending more time in the doctor's office if they suffer a head injury.
News Channel 18's Elizabeth Rentschler joins us now live with more on what a new state law requires players to do before they can get back in the game. Elizabeth?
Jeff, Gina, it won't be long until this empty football field behind me is filled with Lafayette Jefferson High School football players banging their helmets together at summer football camp. But now any athlete, not just football players, could be sidelined longer than usual if they suffer a head injury. Back in February of 2012, Lafayette Jefferson receiver Reggie Henderson described to News Channel 18 what it felt like to experience a concussion.
It was pretty foggy. I was really just sitting there looking at my feet because it hurt too much to look up with the bright lights on.
Now, Indiana lawmakers are hoping high school athletes experience those symptoms less often. Effective July 1st, any student athlete who receives a head injury or a concussion will be immediately removed from play and cannot return to practice until their coach receives a doctor's note saying they passed a concussion evaluation. Lafayette Jefferson Athletic Director Mark Preston says he's happy with the new law and believes head injuries should be taken seriously by both parents and student athletes.
When it comes to sports, in the game of life, again, it's just a game when you're playing a sport, and we need to make sure that we're thinking of the long-term effects that these sorts of hits can have on kids well into their future.
Lafayette Jeff athletic trainer Jeff Clevenger has been an athletic trainer for 26 years. He says he sees concussions most often in football and says he can see anywhere from 2 to 10 concussions in just one season. Clevenger says if a player goes down, they immediately evaluate them for concussion-like symptoms.
And we'll go through a whole list of stuff. We'll do some balancing, we'll do some memory stuff, and ask them a bunch of questions, where they're at, days of the week, frontward, backwards, and to assess them to decide if they do have a concussion.
Yet Clevenger says some athletes won't show signs of a head injury until days after being hit. He says it's important for student athletes to know that if they don't feel right, something probably isn't right. He says speaking up about it could prevent further damage in the future.
You have to report. You have to tell your coach, the athletic trainer, your parents, your doctors. You have to be open and be up front. You don't want to be a hero and end up being out longer than you need to be.
All parents and student athletes must also read and sign a form educating them about the danger of concussions. All schools must have those forms on file before that student is allowed to participate in sports. Reporting live at Lafayette Jefferson High School, Elizabeth Rentschler, News Channel 18.